We're joined by Jim Cregan and Tyler Stewart of the Barenaked Ladies this afternoon. Now, the Barenaked Ladies started out with Ed and Steve, but it wasn't long after before you two joined. Now, how did that come about?
Well, I joined in 1989, I think it was, and then we did a busking carnival in Waterloo, and Tyler was like, "Barenaked Ladies, right on!" He had dreads. That was pretty cool.
I knew their name, and I had dreads.
And we were pretty excited that anybody knew our name at that time.
And they never met anyone with dreads, so they had to have me in the band.
Absolutely.
Or something like that.
Well, we actually started slow with how we said, okay, you can come to the first gig with us, but just bring your snare, okay? And the next gig, he'd bring like one more piece of his drum kit. So eventually...
luckily, I got to stay for 5 gigs, and I got my whole kit there.
He amassed a full Neil Peart, you know.
Yeah, after 20 gigs, I had like gong basses, lit my drums on fire. Everything was amazing.
You know, I'd actually forgotten that you had dreads until I went to YouTube and clicked on "Be My Yoko Ono Speaker's Corner."
Yes, Mother Nature. Thanks for nothing. Take my dreads away and leave me with this. But yeah, that's what happens.
On
right?
that topic, 20 years later, what do you think about the fact that you went into Speaker's Corner and did that?
Oh, that was, you know what? It's so funny. It was right before a gig. We were playing the Rivoli on Queen Street. And, you know, we went in there and we did Be My Yoko Ono. And we got a phone call, I guess probably 2 weeks later. It's like, hey, you guys won. You're a weekly winner. So we went down. I remember going down to Much Music and getting my my winning prize back. It was like an acid wash Much Music jacket and a few Much Music tees. Remember the Heat tees? You like
changes with your emotion.
Yeah, change with the emotion. You got like a mood ring on a T-shirt.
I remember Steve Anthony wearing one of those on Much Music.
Yes, Steve Anthony. Yeah, indeed. So you know what? It's funny. Steve Anthony, most hyper man in radio and television ever. You know the weird thing is too, like that's such a relic. Speaker's Corner. Now there's the internet. Everyone has a forum. But back then you couldn't get on television, and now it's just like, you know, if you have a camera on your computer, you're an instant star.
Or a cell phone.
Or a cell phone or anything. Or if you're being videotaped at all times by CSIS.
The satellite, right?
Yes.
All right. So through a series of events, selling your music at gigs, you created quite a fan base. But it was really 1991 New Year's Eve, because you named yourself the Barenaked Ladies, that you were pulled from the bill.
Yeah.
Right.
At that time, did you feel like, okay, well, maybe we should change our name from the Barenaked Ladies? We don't want to have to deal with this our entire career.
No, we just did a gig in Hamilton instead. But you know, we were kind of surprised when the Star and the Sun they did articles on us, and we're like, we were even on the front cover of the Star, I think. We were surprised, like it must have been a slow news day.
Well, no, the media took attention because it was kind of...
It was censorship.
Yeah, it was, and you know, I mean, it was political correctness gone wild, is what it was.
Yeah, well, June Rowlands was the mayor. I believe she was out of town. We learned later that she was actually out of town, and so one of her staffers made the decision. And yeah, we went from being a popular club band in Toronto to like a household name across the country. It's like, wow, we could not get better publicity if we paid $1 million for it. It was pretty weird time, but it was also strange because, you know, we were young men, you know, university educated, etc. We wanted to be responsible guys, so we kind of believed in a lot of the tenets of political correctness, because essentially it's about being kind to people and stuff, you know, and using appropriate language. Which now that I have kids, I've thrown that out the window. I never use appropriate language anymore. I'm trying to, you know. But anyway, the long and short of it was we ended up having to kind of defend that idea, but also say this is ridiculous. Like
Absolutely.
She'd obviously never listened to our music, but like I said, overnight household name.
Absolutely. Now, a lot of musicians, they start out and they start playing these racier venues. What is the raciest or the most questionable venue you ever played?
I just remember a toilet in Hull, England. Am I wrong on that? That was pretty crazy.
I see. Oh no, yeah. Well, actually, yeah, we played this gig, and the bathroom. You know, in Train Spotting, where the guy goes to the bathroom at one point, and it says the worst toilet in Scotland. Like this most blown. Like, okay, somebody's got to do an expose of rock club bathrooms. Just as a hygienic, you know, retrospective of our times. Raciest venue we've ever played in. Well, I know the worst venue we ever played in was a budget car parking lot.
Oh my
It was
goodness.
like 110 Fahrenheit.
In Las Vegas, we played a parking lot, and there was like 3 people, a hot dog cart, and 3 people who eventually went inside to the air conditioning. So we're
It was a
so,
lull.
no,
It was
yeah.
a lull.
How did that come about then? How did you get that gig?
Well, it was a promo tour actually back in, but it was actually in '92 when our album first came out. Gordon came out in the United States. We went from playing, sold out arenas and concert halls all over Canada to this promo tour in the southwestern United States.
And it was like, okay, meet America.
Meet America. No, they hadn't heard anything about us, right?
So some of the border towns like Buffalo knew about us, and Detroit, but
a radio station was doing a live remote from the budget. It was like, okay, come by, sure, fine, that's great.
Good hot dog.
Well,
Look at the bright side.
Yeah.
when you were first starting out, you had problems with the name Barenaked Lady when you first started out. Do you have any problems in the States, especially the southern states with the name?
You know what? No, now the people know. It's kind of like when Fine Young Cannibals came out at first. It was like, are we going to see people eating people? No, you're not going to see any nude women
You're going to see
with us.
Johnny, I'm sorry.
Won't you come on home? We worry.
Well, guys, we're going to pause here for just a second, okay?
Yes.
Don't go anywhere. Coming up, a new direction in sound for the Barenaked Ladies, and we'll touch on the departure of Stephen Page.